Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, and a fitting venue for the season finale of the BRSCC Excool OSS Championship. Coming into the round, we've got 3 races, 3 drivers, 2 classes, 1 goal, and that's to be the 2017 champion. We've been here before, haven't we, Mike? Genvi, last year you just needed the fastest lap to win the championship.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, that was Class B Championship, but yeah, just needed the fastest lap and a race win, and we got the race win, but unfortunately Duncan got fastest lap, so it always seems to be Duncan, eh?
So it's either Duncan or Josh, isn't it? It's you 3 battling it out all year.
Yeah. I mean, it's been close the whole year. So obviously Duncan and I are both in Class B, so it's kind of a bit harder for us, I think, to win the overall championship because Josh seems to do very well in Class C. I don't know. I have a really good time racing Duncan. I just wish he'd be a bit slower sometimes.
And the car running well for the first race?
Yeah, really good, really good. Obviously, we took the engine apart before Donington. It ran really well at Donington. We had an issue in the second race where we had a spark plug failure, which is really rare. So I don't know why that happened. So new spark plugs, obviously, and a few more new things. So yeah, I mean, I think we've done the maths ish, and we need 2 third places or 2 fourth places to win overall. But as you know, it's very easy to say. We actually got to finish the races first.
Yeah. You nervous?
No, pretty relaxed. I don't know. We'll see how we go. We can't really do anything, and you know we'll just see how it goes over the course of the weekend. But I don't know. I find it very hard just to fight for the championship and not fight for those race wins. So frustration may get the better of me.
Well, we can't wait to see how it all pans out. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And with that, I'll hand you up to Richard John Neal in the commentary box.
Thanks very much. Anthony, pole position here, going to Mike Genvi. Duncan Williams alongside there, Matt Manderson and Richard Wise. Class A pole is Patrick Sherrington from John Paul Ivy. James Clark next from Adam Dale. Paul Spencer and Class C pole man Graham Hill. Lee Torrey and James Abbott on row 6. Row 7, Ian Charles with Richard Ferns. Simon Tilling and Robert Gilman on row 8. Row 9, Alistair Smart and Daniel Prendergast. They're followed by Andy Chittenden and Andrew Kimpton. Adrian Williams and Richard Gilman on row 11. Row 12, Mark Nicholson with Norman Lackford. Neil Harris, Class D pole, next to Paul Myers, who's on the Class E pole position. And then we've got Josh Smith and Joe Stables with loads of work to do from the back of the grid. The lights are out for the anti-penultimate time this year. Pole position Mike Genvi in the white 35, but he's being swamped because Duncan Williams in black leads, and we've got 2 red cars, Richard Wise and Patrick Sherrington looking around the outside of the championship leader, on board with Lee Torrey, on board now with Paul Spencer at this very crowded start as they go through Abbey Curve into farm for the first time. Sherrington is down in 4th, 5th position, in fact, because Matt Manderson in the Ligier, number 26, goes round the outside, but the race leader is Duncan Williams. 2nd position, Mike Genvi, the pole man. This is going to set up another fascinating battle between those 2. This is what they look like coming down the legendary Hanger Straight. I tell you what, Duncan Williams very quick off the line. Genvi 2nd. It was a real fight going down into Abbey for the first time. And Josh Smith, how's he going to progress from the back of the field? Smith working through. That's Alistair Smart, makes a quick pass down the inside into Stowe Corner. They'll then head down into Vale. Smith will be chasing at the very least the podium in Class C, if not the win. He's got, I think, long enough to do it, but an awful lot of traffic to have to deal with. Patrick Sherrington is 4th. Richard Wise is 3rd at the present time, down behind the championship leader Mike Genvi. And Mike, as you heard in the interview with Anthony, trying to grab a couple of top 3s. And I think he's talking really there about class positions. At the moment, the Class Bs are at the head, but we've got the Class A into and a bit of contact there. And there's a problem for Mike Genvi, the championship leader. I spoke too soon about grabbing 2 third places. Genvi's got a problem. He's going to be off the circuit. It looked like the car checked up, and there was very nearly worse contact than there actually was. Lee Torrey coming down the Hanger Straight. Mike Genvi's going to have to... He was talking about 2 top 3s. It looks like he's going to have to wait for race 3 to settle the championship, if indeed he can do it. Duncan Williams will have other things to say about that. On board once again with Josh Smith making progress through the field. Let's do a little stock take. Duncan Williams is the leader. He's in black. He's out of shot. So we're looking at the battle for 3rd place now. That's Matt Manderson busy chasing Patrick Sherrington. The red and black car, Patrick Sherrington, the MCR Sport, is the leading Class A runner. Matt Manderson, Matt's first outing with us this year, I think. raced here with us last year, and I remember making the comment that he was the driver who won the first ever OSS race in the Formula. So always good to welcome him back. A little bit of history for him as we watch Adam Dale being chased by James Clark in the yellow Mallock. And that's a Mallock Mark 27. Really good to add variety here. Of course, most of the entries, as you've probably noticed, are Mallocks, but we've got Juno, Ligier Chiron, MCR Sport, Mallock, Yamaha Global GT Light, Genby Gun, of course, in the mix as well. Lots of different manufacturers represented. And Josh Smith trying to close up there on Robert Gilman. Some really good battling going on. The white car with the orange and black that you'll see at the head of this group, that's the leading Class C car. That's Graham Hill. He's just out of shot. And he's the man that Josh Smith is going to be chasing. We're riding on board at the moment with Paul Spencer. Superb view of this international pit straight and that iconic wing building on the right hand side. They come down into Abbey. From Abbey it's farm and then village, and that's where camera is looking across from, and then the run down onto the hangar straight. Sherrington has now been passed by Matt Manson. There is Patrick Sherrington, who still leads Class A. Sherrington's last win, round 9 on the Snetterton 300 circuit. Josh Smith still making progress. Always good direction here, watching Josh Smith coming through from the back of the grid. He's usually, of course, up at the front end of things in Class C. We don't always get the opportunity to see him working through traffic, but we are here. Now the question I'm going to ask is whether Matt Manderson will be able to close down on Richard Wise, who should be just out of shot. There he pops into shot, the red car. The white machine in the mix you can see. I was talking about different marks represented. That's the Yamaha Global GT Light of Paul Myers, who's done a great job, lone job in class, as we see Paul Spencer getting past there. Patrick Sherrington continues his way through some of the initial, I don't like to call back markers, but of course in this type of racing it's multi-class racing, and the drivers with the smaller engines. Talking about engines, listen to this. That's Josh Smith with big problems. He's out of the race, look left of shot, getting the position back that we saw taken earlier on is Paul Spencer, and that's a major shot. The championship leader for Class C, Josh Smith, is out of the race. So we've got two big guns out of the race very early on, Josh Smith and Mike Genby. What is happening here at Silverstone today? We're back on board with Paul Spencer, and Paul working his way down the hangar straight here. John Paul Ivy, meanwhile, invitation class runner up ahead of Graham Hill. Hill's the leader of Class C. If he finds out that Josh Smith's out, he might possibly see Josh parked up on the side of the road. And he'll breathe a sigh of relief there. Not too much, though, because he's still got some battling going on behind him. Adam Dale in the Class B car, battling for position. We ride again with Paul Spencer, who's got clear track, comes through Abbey, then watch for the left-hander at Farm, and then Village Corner, which is the tight loop. That's where we look across from before they run down onto the hangar straight. Coming to Village Corner now, and Paul Spencer, incidentally, running second in Class A. Class A led by Patrick Sherrington, as we've already mentioned. Richard Ferns in the 42, coming under pressure from Richard Gilman. Andrew Kimpton in close proximity as well in the 44 car. And Ferns, I think, is going to be past. Gilman slots the car up on the inside line. That was a very good move indeed, as they go into Chapel and onto the hangar straight. John Paul Ivy coming under pressure from Graham Hill. John Paul, as we said, not taking championship points away. Remember him racing here actually last year in the invitation class. This is his third appearance as an invitation entry so far this year. Andy Chittenden having a great race here as well with Adrian Williams. Those boys in Class C. Lee Torrey is in Class C as well at the moment in podium position, third place in class in the number 78 car. And Chittenden, as you can see, has the better of 22 Adrian Williams at this stage of the race as they come onto the main straight. Norman Lackford in front as well, the venerable Norman Lackford in the blue and yellow Radical PR6. is there as well, but the race leader, as if you needed reminding, is still Duncan Williams. And Duncan was going to be expecting a fight for sure with pole position man Mike Genvy, but that wasn't to be today. They were very close in qualifying, only 0.06 of a second effectively separating the pair, or 0.055 to be exact. And Williams has been spared the fight. I'm sure he would have absolutely loved the battle with Mike Genvy, but it was not to be. And watch for Williams coming through the traffic. Here he is, picking off driver after driver. And goes through and past Mark Nicholson, the Class C runner, on what has been a superb drive so far. He's got the fastest lap of the race back on lap 3, 61.515 seconds, an average speed of over 108 miles per hour. More for you after the break. Silverstone round 13 of the Excool OSS Championship. Duncan Williams is your race leader and very nearly 10 seconds clear of Matt Manderson, who is now in second position in the Ligier. Richard Wise in the Chiron down to third. Patrick Sherrington, who's fourth and still leads Class A. On board with Paul Spencer. Paul looking in his mirrors, it's the race leader that's closing up on him. Paul Spencer, to put some perspective around things, running second in Class A, 11th overall. And Williams looks to the inside there. Again, let's have a see. I think it's going to be an inside job here. Down into Club Chicane, indeed it is. And through goes the race leader. Duncan Williams in the Juno goes through. Williams, who took 2 wins in the second place at Donington Park last time out, had a good run. I think the most successful run of the year. It was 4. Mike Genvy's had 4 on the bounce as well, isn't he? From round 4, 5, 6 and 7 as well. And the point really that those two drivers have been very evenly matched over the course of the whole season as we head down towards the Hanger Straight for the last time. So Williams clear, he's got fastest lap in Class A, unsurprisingly class leader Patrick Sherrington. Joe Stables has fastest lap in Class C. Lost Paul Myers, the lone Class E runner, but he obviously was looking to improve his fastest lap, which came out on lap 5 as a 1:19. Neil Harris, the other lone class runner in Class D, has done a 1:13.7. Neil Harris still running in 20th place. But coming towards the checkered flag is Duncan Williams, who will pick up a 7th win of the season. Watch for the checkers, there they are. So Williams takes it, coming across the line now, and a lap down, second position in classes Paul Spencer. And here's the result. Williams from Manderson and Wise. Patrick Sherrington wins Class A. John Paul Ivy 5th. Class C winner, Graham Hill. Then Adam Dale, Joe Stables, James Abbott, Lee Torrey, Paul Spencer and Ian Charles ahead of Robert Gilman, Richard Ferns, Norman Lackford, Richard Gilman. And then Andy Chittenden from Adrian Williams, Mark Nicholson, Neil Harris winning Class D. And the retirement list, which, to be fair, included some big names. We'll have to see how they do in race 2.
After race 1 here at Silverstone, Duncan Williams take the advantage, very composed win. Were you nervous about Mike Genvy going through?
You know, when you're out there, you don't know what's going to happen. You've got to put a really quick lap in, and I got, I think, the quickest lap of the race on the third lap. So you just get ahead, and then you've got the advantage, and going through the traffic, it makes life easier.
Class A victory goes to Patrick Sherrington. You've been quiet all year. It's been a new car this season, but great result.
It has. It's a fantastic result yesterday, and you know, it's the first time the car's been out this year. It's a brand new car, evolution from the Sports 2000 version, and it's just slowly been getting quicker and quicker. So fantastic yesterday.
Race 1 didn't go quite to plan for Mike Genvy, but the championship's still there for the taking. You've taken the car back to your workshop overnight. You worked tirelessly through the night. Went to bed at 4:30. Back here this morning. How are you feeling?
Yeah, bit nervous now. We had a fairly catastrophic failure yesterday. Basically, conrod melted itself to the crank, so it was a new crank, new conrod, but using old bits and pieces because we don't have a spare engine. So we've run it in on the stands for 5 minutes. So I guess at the start of race 2 is we've got to run it in for a few laps. So I'll just try and be a bit cautious with the throttle and try and keep a few people behind me perhaps. You know, the championship's a bit tougher because of the retirement yesterday, so we need to finish both these 2 races, assuming Duncan does pretty well, and I suspect he'll probably streak out in front with our hobbled engine. So yeah, we'll just see how we get on. Just yeah, try and keep going slowly but fast enough to stay in good championship position.
Yeah, you've got Duncan in front of you on the grid, so you're going to try and catch him. What's the tactics here? You've got to have some gameplay.
Yeah, I think I don't really want to use much full throttle for the first lap, so we'll probably run. He won't see this before the race now, will he? So we'll probably run full throttle off the line and see if we can get into the lead, and then just try and sort of back him in the pack while trying to keep the revs down. It's a great plan. I doubt it'll work. I expect people to just stream past me at the start, but we'll go for something like that and see what happens.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And with that, I'll hand you back up to Richard John Neal in the commentary box.
Thanks again, Anthony. Duncan Williams on pole position. Mike Genvey this time on the outside of the front row. Matt Manderson and Richard Wise next from Patrick Sherrington. Class A pole from John Paul Ivy. James Clark next from Adam Dale. Graham Hill, the Class C pole position man on row 5 with Paul Spencer. And on row 6, Lee Torrey and James Abbott. Row 7, Richard Stables and John Gilman. Ian Charles on row 8 with Joe Stables. Simon Tilling and Richard Ferns next up. From row 10, Robert Gilman and Andy Chittenden. Row 11, Adrian Williams and Andrew Kimpton, Mark Nicholson and Alistair Smart. And next from Norman Lackford, Class D pole Neil Harris, Class E pole Paul Myers, Josh Smith with loads of work to do from the back of the field once again in Class C after his demise in race number 1. Can he get a decent finish here in race 2, the penultimate race of the year, about to get underway? The lights are out. We're on board with Mike Genvey, and he hasn't got the grunt. Duncan Williams gets the lead going down into Abbey Corner. Patrick Sherrington up the inside line taking second. So Mike Genvey down in 3rd place. We've got a couple of cars off and wide as we ride on board with Josh Smith trying to make coverage. Sherrington, oh, and contact there with Genvey. Round the outside goes Matt Anderson, but Genvey, I wonder if that car is maybe more fragile for the late night spent on it. It was a terrific effort from Mike Genvey to get the car back here. He really wants the championship so badly, and it's that sort of dedication and effort that can win championships. He's in 3rd place at the moment, but that's 2nd position in class. Remember, he only needs 2, effectively, or say only 2 top 3s in class to secure the championship. And Duncan Williams, of course, we know is an outright fighter. John Gilman in 86 chasing James Abbott in the 125. Josh Smith in the mix as well. We ride on board with Josh making up positions. Josh is going to be aiming for a class win. Other than that, I guess the first trick is to get onto the podium, really into the top 3. And there's a problem for Duncan Williams. The Black Juno is slowing. Duncan Williams is out of the race by the look of it. Williams has got a problem. My goodness me, 2 big stories in 2 races. It was Genvey who was the retiree in the first race, and now Duncan Williams has got problems. And like Genvey, he's got to get the car home. But if he gets the car home in the top 3 in this one, that will be enough for the championship. Patrick Sherrington there in car number 40 leads the race, and Duncan Williams, what can we say? That is such a shame to see. We wanted to see Williams and Genvey going head-to-head. It wasn't to be in this race. Sherrington leads, hasn't had an outright win before. Patrick Sherrington took the class win last time out, a 4th class win of the year, and could be on for an overall win here. It's early doors yet, though, and watch the battle now. Matt Manderson, Richard Wise in red is chasing as well, so these 3 cars all in Class B, racing hard. What a shame we haven't got Duncan Williams in the mix as well. This shows how competitive this is. 3 different marks. There were 4. And the number 40, the MCR, away and down the road. Josh Smith still making progress. Nips up on the inside line of Robert Gilman in the 68 car. So he's making very good progress indeed. And the traffic gets strung out, of course, as the race goes on. Makes the job harder and harder for Josh Smith to come through from 28th position on the grid. An incredible field, a wonderful field being put together, as ever, by the British Racing and Sports Car Club. It's been my privilege to watch their racing for many, many years, and also to commentate on their racing too. Here we go. We're going to make a pass here, and going past John Gilman now down the Hanger Straight in towards Stowe Corner. The progress continues for Josh Smith. Meanwhile, this is the battle for 2nd place overall. It's the battle for the lead. in Class B. Oh, and grabbing the curb, Matt Manderson gets the curb. That is absolutely an illustration of what happens if you do grab the curb. The car goes around. Lee Torrey nips through. I think everybody's seen that, but that three-way scrap now is down to a two-way fight, and it's Richard Wise in the Chiron on the outside line, and the Genvy gun of Mike Genvy on the inside. He's fighting for this. Genvy probably doesn't need to fight so vigorously, but he is an out-and-out racer. He wants to take the win. Now, at this stage of the year, you'll watch many championships with us on TV, where a driver will sew up a championship and then just turn things off. They'll relax, they'll probably wind up with a midfield finish or something like that, just off the podium. But Genvy's not one of those drivers. He's one that will fight all the way. He's not one of those drivers that will just do enough. He'll excel. The fact that he went home, worked, as you heard in the interview with Anthony, till the early hours of the morning to get that car fixed and out here ready to race. And he's doing that. He wants to go out with the win. In fact, he won't go out because there's another race to go yet as well, even if he secures it in this one. Josh Smith still making progress. Looks now at Lee Torrey. So he's got Lee Torrey immediately in front, then Simon Tilling, I think it was Paul Spencer as well. Still the scrap for second carries on. And a quick reminder that we've got Patrick Sherrington, maybe a little bit of history in the making, with an outright win in the offing, as Lee Torrey, the car we saw diving down the inside of Matt Manderson. Matt Manderson stricken the car after doing the curve. Did good avoidance, did Lee, but coming under pressure here from the Class C Championship leader, Josh Smith. Of course, Josh, a double champion. That's what Mike Genvy's aiming for. Goes down the inside line. And you'll note from that, because we've got a lot of champions that come back, the champions in this formula do stay with us and come and race with us again and again. They love their racing. It's a terrific camaraderie in the paddock. And Smith now chasing after Simon Tilling. So working his way up towards the Class C podium from the very back of the grid. And Class C is the healthiest class in terms of numbers. Hasn't perhaps got the variety of manufacturers represented as Class B, but that's no matter. It's a very healthy, strong class. And look at Josh Smith trying to come through the green car, third in shot at the moment. Lee Torrey's been dropped a little bit at the moment by Smith, who still tries to work his way through and climb up towards the podium. Let's see whether he can deal with Simon Tilling here. Simon Tilling engaged in his own battle with Paul Spencer at the moment. Spencer's got the inside line there. Smith might potentially see a gap, which he goes for. Has a look down the inside line, a little bit too far back, so it's all going to be about the run down the hanger straight here to see if he can go past. Welcome back to Silverstone as we watch car number 30. That's Mark Nicholson in the Radical SR3, running just outside the top 10 in Class C, up at the sharp end of things in Class C. Second position in class now for Josh Smith, who we've really enjoyed battling through the field in part 2 of our programme. He's got clear track ahead of him now. I'm sure he'd like to get stuck into a bit more traffic and make more progress, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Just past the stricken car left of shot, which I think might be Adam Dale. Josh Smith incidentally up into second position in class. Class leader Graham Hill in the 72 car, looking to pick up his third win of the year. Won't be a win for that man. Richard Ferns, the Class A runner, spins around and will drop to third in class. Matt Manson still going there in the Ligier. Matt now up ahead of James Clark in the yellow Mallock, who's running well here. That's really good, as I say, to see Mallock mark represented. It is indeed, I think, Adam Dale, who is part of Adam's second retirement of the year, second career retirement as well, I think, because he did all of last season, completed every race. I remember making that comment here last year, and then on the national circuit, the opening round of this year, had his first retirement from the Formula, 26th of May. So Silverstone not the happiest venue for him, but he has scored very well indeed. He's had class podia in Class B, which is a difficult environment to do it as the race leader goes through, and he's going to lap Paul Spencer, who's running second position in Class A at the moment. Mike Genvy's got to deal with him as well. Spare a thought to for the red car in behind Genvy, which is Richard Wise, keeping Mike Genvy very honest at the moment. So a good battle for class lead in Class B between the Genvy Gun and the Chiron LMP. And we'll see those go through shot in a moment. Here is the view down the Anger Straight with Adam Dale's car parked up. This is John Paul Ivy, who was up at the sharp end of things in race number 1, followed by the 95 Radical PR6 of Richard Stables. Genvy makes the move on the inside line of Paul Spencer. Richard Wise follows through, meanwhile still making progress past the 86 car of John Gilman. Goes the race leader Patrick Sherrington. So Sherrington is going to make a little bit of history here with his first overall win in OSS, but history also being made by Mike Genvy, who will grab the 2017 crown here, assuming he gets it to the finish, and will be a double champion, a double outright champion, emulating Josh Smith and indeed Tony Sinclair. Tony, a 4-time Class A champion in this formula, but Josh Smith, twice overall champion, twice Class C champion, and will secure that as well. So Genvy still chasing. Here we come down into Stowe Corner once again. John Paul Ivy from Richard Stables. There is Mike Genvy. You cannot fault Mike Genvy here, and problems for Paul Spencer, who's parked up on the chicane. Thankfully, everybody sees him. Good driver awareness, and no doubt very good marshalling as well, just indicating that there is a problem there. It's a fairly visible chicane, to be absolutely fair, as Patrick Sherrington now is on his last lap. Still very much a battle on for second position and the Class B victory. Mike Genvy wants to be crowned as champion with another class victory. Genvy, who has 21 class wins in his involvement in the championship, 14 overall wins. This will be Patrick Sherrington's 5th class win and first overall win if he takes it. Duncan Williams now has 22 overall wins, 25 class wins by my reckoning over the years of the OSS Championship. So down into Stowe for the last time. John Paul Ivy, is he going to be lapped? Looks across. Sherrington's going to try and go through on the inside line. Patrick Sherrington on his way here to overall victory. We've still got the white car of Mike Genvy, champion-elect, right in his sights. We've still got Paul Spencer parked up there, and I think the organisers want to run this one to the flag of this 20-minute race. Watch for the checkered flag, and it's Patrick Sherrington that takes the win. Mike Genvy takes the win in Class B and the championship title. Richard Wise is 3rd. Graham Hill 4th, wins Class B from Matt Manderson and Josh Smith. Then James Clark and James Abbott. John Paul Ivy 9th, Richard Stables and John Gilman. Simon Tilling 12th. Then Lee Torrey, Ian Charles, Adrian Williams and Andy Chittenden from Joe Stables. Norman Lackford, Robert Gilman, Mark Nicholson. Neil Harris gets a Class D finish in 21st ahead of Richard Burns.
After the demise of Duncan Williams in race 2, gives Mike Genvy the championship. Congratulations, 2017 BRSCC Excool OSS champion.
Yeah, it sounds good. After the disappointment of last year, yeah, really nice, really nice. Obviously, second time I've won it, my 6th national title now, so yeah, chuffed to bits. I guess especially given the circumstance of having to fix the car last night, that whole race was it was tough because I was just trying to keep the revs down. I was trying to keep everyone behind me after I'd been held up a bit on the green flag lap, and then Matt Manderson had hit me on the halfway going into the second corner, and so I just held everyone back and had caught Patrick up in the middle, had a quick go, but I noticed I was using more and more revs, so I was like, no, back off, let's get the championship. I'd seen obviously Duncan pull over off the start, so no, great feeling.
Mike Genvy's won the championship 2017. But Patrick Sherrington, you said you wanted to be winning races, you wanted to knock them off the perch, and you did that. Congratulations.
We did. Just can't quite believe it today, to be honest. Had a fantastic start, got into the lead, and I thought if I can just get the power down early and get a bit of a gap, the guys will start fighting, and they did. And then I was chasing Duncan, he had a little bit of a problem. I thought, right, this is it. We've just got to get the head down and just keep going for it.
What's next? One more race to go?
One race, it was fantastic. We're starting on pole right next to Mike Genvy. I've raced against Mike in 3 different categories now and went to school with him. So it's great to be back racing him again, and I'll give him a run for the money in the race 3.
Who's better off the line?
Me, I've got loads more power.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Patrick on pole position, Mike Genvy Class B pole, then Richard Wise, Graham Hill, the Class C pole position man Matt Manderson and Josh Smith completing row 3. Row 4, James Clark, then James Abbott, John Paul Ivy on row 5 with Richard Stables. Row 6, Simon Tilling and Lee Torrey. 7th row, Ian Charles and Adrian Williams, Andy Chittenden and Joe Stables on row 8. Row 9, Norman Lackford and Robert Gilman. Mark Nicholson on row 10 with Neil Harris, he's the Class D entrant. Richard Ferns and Paul Spencer ahead of Class E man Paul Myers and Adam Dale. Alistair Smart, Duncan Williams on row 13. Row 14 completing the grid is Richard Gilman. So here we go away for the final race of the year. A little bit of cement dust down there on the main straight, and we're on board with Josh Smith looking at the fight going on down into turn 1. Sherrington leads, Genvy second, Richard Wise is third. So Genvy not content with having wrapped up the championship. This is what I was saying earlier in the programme. He's getting stuck in. Josh Smith on the outside line there. Matt Manderson, who has another spin. 2 races, 2 spins for Manderson. He was okay in race number 1. Hopefully we'll rejoin from that. We'll see him fight his way through the field. Decent start once again from James Clark in the yellow Mallock. They're up ahead at the moment of the 98 car of Joe Stables. James Abbott was in behind and going for the lead now. Mike Genvy, not content with the class win, has gone through into the overall lead. The double champion Genvy through into the lead. And this is exactly what I was saying. Genvy won't settle for anything there. He's an out-and-out racer. Championship or not, wants to win. Absolutely superb commitment from him. So into the shadows he goes, followed by the Class A leader, Patrick Sherrington. Do you know what makes me already start to look forward to the 2018 year? Sadly, problems for Ian Charles in the Radical PR6. The 124 car is off and out of the race, along with Duncan Williams. We're not going to see Williams work his way through the field. That is such a major shame. Look at Josh Smith though. He's battling for the class lead now. The grid for race 3 on the lap times from race 2. So Smith gets a decent bite of the cherry here, starting second in class on the grid. Graham Hill started immediately in front of him and maintains that position at the moment. Hill's never an easy driver to beat. Remember, Graham Hill, a triple class champion in Class C himself. As we watch John Paul Ivy getting involved there with Richard Wise in the Chiron number 89, and Smith right behind Graham Hill, but it's still Mike Genvy out front from Patrick Sherrington. This is the battle for 3rd place. So it's Wise, Ivy, Hill, then Smith right behind them. Josh Smith looking to try and get a 37th, by my reckoning, class win in Class C. He has taken that Class C machine to overall wins before. Absolutely incredible achievement in OSS racing. But at the moment, Graham Hill looking pretty handy in the class lead. There he is in the 72 car. So a fine fight going on. Hill will want to try and deal with John Paul Ivy, get in front of him. John Paul running in the invitation class. Sun getting low in the sky. This is the finals day here at Silverstone for the British Racing and Sports Car Club. Who've given us a wonderful season once again. Great racing, great organisation. And Josh Smith has a look again at Graham Hill. A little bit too far back at the moment to try and make that stick as they head down into Vale once again. And we rejoin Josh Smith. What has he got in reserve? Well, the answer is he's not under any pressure from behind at the moment, so that will free him up to take whatever line he wants to maximise his effort to try and depose Graham Hill from the class lead as they tick off another lap. John Paul Ivy looking reasonably secure in front of these two at the minute, and this just shows you how difficult it is to close in and to pass when you've got very evenly matched cars together on track. Lee Torrey coming under pressure here from James Clark. James had a gear linkage problem in race number 1. The Cardowan Creamery's backed car. They've sponsored several drivers up and down the country. And James, also a historic racer, goes through, and he's ahead of Lee Torrey at the moment. It's been great to see him in OSS. And you can see the yellow car there just A little bit adrift of the top runners, but having a fine race after those problems he had in race number 1. He had a good finish in race 2, and we'll have more for you after the break. Welcome back to Silverstone, the final race of the year, round 15 of the 2017 Excool OSS Championship. Sadly, Mr. Excool Duncan Williams is out of the race, but we've seen some super stuff from him over the course of the year. We're watching Patrick Sherrington being chased by Richard Wise. The race leader is Mike Genvy. Problems there, and parked up is Paul Myers. So Myers out of the race, joining Neil Harris, Ian Charles, Duncan Williams as a retiree from this one. Sherrington and Wise still together. Sherrington, of course, leading Class A. He will be the Class A champion for the season as well. Josh Smith, Class C champion, and Class B won by Mike Genvy, as well as the overall championship, which we heard in race number 2. And this is a good race going on, into class battle here with Sherrington, who took his first outright win in race 2, holding on to position at the moment. But this just goes to show you how much traffic these cars have to deal with. Very much appropriate, of course, in sports car racing. Sherrington through on the inside line, Wise tracking him, and Mike Genvy still out front in the whites. Genvy gun with a nightmare start to the meeting. A lesser driver would have had those problems get into his head, but he went home, sorted the car out, came back, claimed a class win, claimed the championship, now wants an overall win to tie up the season. Incredible stuff. There's Genvy closing in on Paul Spencer. So Spencer, I think, has seen in the Class A car, number 16. Spencer will allow him through. Paul running second position in Class A. Patrick Sherrington there in the 40 car is the class leader, so a bit of a differential between those two at this meeting. Josh Smith still there as well, so through on the inside line, the back mark of traffic responding well to these front runners coming through. They are, of course, signalled by the marshals with the blue flag to hold their line, just to warn the cars coming through. It's difficult for the cars in the other classes, though, when they're having a battle, so they need to be mindful of that. Josh Smith now, in fact, leading the class. So Smith, the class leader from Graham Hill. John Paul Ivy still in the battle as well. We'll probably pick up on that, but watch Richard Wise here. The Chiron putting big pressure at the moment on the race 2 outright winner. This is a fine battle for second place. Class A car leading Class B machine at the moment, but Richard Wise looks poised there to perhaps make a move. Meanwhile, down the inside of Adrian Williams goes Mike Genvy, the race leader. Genvy's got a little bit in hand here, no doubt tweaking the car before us. We again right on board with Josh Smith. Genvy, I was starting to say, tweaking the car between races, getting a little bit more out of it. It's interesting hearing his little comment, you know, for before race 2. This is off camera, isn't it? So Duncan won't hear it, he said. Cloak and dagger stuff. Great friends, of course, off track, but very competitive on circuit. And Genvy, look at the lead that he's got at the moment. Genvy with several cars that he's popped a lap on between himself and the Sherrington and Wise battle for second position. Josh Smith, as I said, leading Class C. We've lost Paul Myers and Neil Harris. I don't think we're going to get any class. Well, we're not going to get a Class D or E finisher in this one. And still the battle for second, probably the most competitive and closest on track. Wise can't get past Patrick Sherrington at the moment. He gets close, but then can't go through. Mike Genvy still out front, this year's champion. Hopefully he'll come back, and of course they'll all be developing the cars over the winter months. Josh Smith running well. Josh in the green machine. There is Richard Ferns in the 42. Richard third in Class A. Richard Wise at the moment. Lost a couple of lengths on Patrick Sherrington, so he's going to have to get back into his stride, see if he can make that little bit of ground up and have another challenge. But so far Sherrington has been equal for that. So it's Genvy Gunn from MCR Sport, Chiron, Matt Manderson still running well, and here is Josh Smith, who is the leading Class C runner. Again, there's nothing better for a driver after problems in a meeting to come back and take a class win or an outright win in the final race of the weekend. There's John Paul Ivy We've seen him up at the sharp end when he's raced with us in the invitation class. Took 3 podia at Rockingham. Second place in race number 1. 2 third positions. He was also on the podium at Donington Park in round 10. Adam Dale in car number 3 after retirement in race 1. He's running well here, and just shy of the podium in Class C. So another very good performance from Adam Dale this year, who had his first season of racing last year. And goes through up ahead of Adrian Williams, and you can see Patrick Sherrington and Richard Wise about to pounce and try and go through on the inside line of those two. So Sherrington and Wise still very much together at the moment. Mike Genvy is still out front. Fastest lap of the race though, as Wise looks to the outside line. The outside line at the moment has Adam Dale on it, so it might be a case of Wise following Sherrington through. Dale sees them coming, goes wide. Great driving from Adam Dale. Lets the second and third place cars through on the inside line. Josh Smith coming up to try and pop a lap on Paul Spencer. Second in Class A, as I mentioned. Spencer down in 14th place at the moment overall. So Sherrington and Wise still going at it, hammer and tongs. But look at the green car being passed by Matt Manderson. Josh Smith being passed by Manderson. Manderson goes up into 4th place. So this is a good recovery from Manderson. And he's got the outright fastest lap of the race, back on lap 12. So spectacular stuff from Manderson. Love to see a full campaign from him. Is he going to make it? He has already, hasn't he? Made it 3 Class B cars in the top 4. Sherrington, the Class A car, which is in the mix at the moment, the sort of upsetting the Class B is really the Class A man with his overall win. It is still out front, Mike Genvy. Patrick Sherrington, unsurprisingly fastest man in Class A. Josh Smith, equally unsurprising, fastest man in Class C, with a lap at 104 miles per hour, fastest lap of the race. And through goes Wise into second place. Richard Wise into second position. So it's Genvy leading. Wise in second place. Patrick Sherrington now third, but still leading Class A. Matt Manderson is 4th. We're on board with the 5th place car. Josh Smith looks down the straight, but here is the race leader, Mike Genvy, this year's champion. This is going to be a very fitting end to the championship, to see Genvy take an outright win. He goes down the straight again, picks up the pit signals. He's on his own. He's got clear circuit here, so he's enjoying this very much like a track day for him at the moment. A few cars to pick off perhaps before we get into the checkered flag. He's closing up on Lee Torrey. Lee running in 6th place in Class C, 12th overall. Not sure if he's going to pop a lap on Lee in this race, but we'll see whether he does. Remember, it was at this stage last year that Mike Genvy was gunning hard, if you'll pardon the pun. He really gunned to get the fastest lap to win the Class Championship. It didn't come off for him last year, but he so nearly got it. This year, a different matter. On board briefly again with Josh Smith in the 55 car. Josh, the outgoing reigning champion, but still a double champion, of course, as Mike Genvy comes through into the chicane for the last time. The champion, not content with winning the championship, comes out and bangs in an outright win. Superb stuff from Mike Genvy. That is the stuff of sports car champions. There's the checker. Genvy takes the win to underline his championship title, his 2nd title. Josh Smith's going to win Class C. We're on board with him. You can see Matt Manderson immediately in the front, closing up as well. It was very close at the sharp end. Genvy wins from Wise. Patrick Sherrington wins Class A. Then Matt Manderson, Mark Abbott, John Paul Ivy from Graham Hill, Joe Stables, Simon Tinning, James Abbott, Richard Stables, Lee Torrey. Then Adam Dale, Paul Spencer and Adrian Williams 15th from Richard Ferns. Alistair Smart 17th from John Gilman, Andy Chittenden, Mark Nicholson and Norman Lackford completing the finishers on laps. Manderson, Sherrington, Smith, John Paul Ivy, James Abbott and Paul Myers.
Well, Mike, what a dominant performance to finish off a cracking year, and congratulations again on the championship.
Yeah, really good. Obviously had a really nice battle with Patrick in the first lap, but it was always the plan, you know, the shackles are off, as it were, so, you know, it's just been a bit of a relief to win it after obviously the second race today. There's a bit of like an unleashed, so yeah, no, we just went and had some fun, got past Patrick, and then we tried to get close to the outright lap record, but I was kind of taking too many risks, and so we just settled in, and obviously won by a nice margin.
Quick machine, Patrick's got, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's getting better. He's only been running it for a year. We've been in OSS for 4 years now, so no doubt they'll make big steps forward. So we've got some work to do.
Yeah, so is it party time now?
Yeah. We get to relax for a few days now, and but we also get all the nice stuff like planning what we're going to do over the winter. Hopefully we're having a trip to the wind tunnel fairly soon, which is just fun for all of us. We all love the engineering side of it. It runs prototype throttle bodies for Genvi Dynamics, so we'll have some new kit on there as well for next year for development. Yeah, so looking forward to next year as well.
Well, for now, well done, go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Well, that brings an end to what's been a fantastic season in the Open Sports Cars Series. Mike Genvi is taking the overall championship, so congratulations to him. Please join us in 2018 for some of the same.